Hey future lawyer, this is Nitin Pradhan, the host for today's podcast, and today we have an amazing person, a good friend of mine, and a great content creator on LinkedIn. Her name is Safah Mohammad. She is from Karnataka State Law University, and now she'll be introducing herself.
Hello everyone, I'm Safa Mohammad and I am right now in my fourth semester in second year in my BBLLB program. And today Nitin has invited me to talk about content creation, writing, and all of such things. And a little bit about my background. I am right now the rank holder in my college. So I would also like to talk about how do you present a law paper as far as my experience goes with it. And also how do you write? Because I was also like many of the people that I know, even in my own friend circle, where they want to express, but they're not able to express. And the most common question I get from them is that I have so much to say, but I don't know how to write it. I don't know how to express it. So I will be talking on that. And I'm also interning under Ravi Gakar advocate who is in Punjab and Haryana High Court. So yeah, let's get started with that.
Okay, thank you so much, Safa, for firstly, for accepting and coming. And okay, so guys, meet my friend. Her name, she's Safa. So we'll talk in both the languages, like Hindi and English,
Yes, yes,
because it
yes.
will be easier for us to
Hmm.
connect with the audience. So,
Yeah.
so I just wanna start with how
Hmm.
is your law life going?
Okay. माई लॉ लाइफ इट इज जैसे आप लोग को पता है वहां पे जो हार्ट बीट का वो मॉनिटर होता है जिसमें लाइंस अप नीचे होता है वही आप कह सकते हो इज लाइक हाउ लॉ कॉलेजेस वर्क बट ऑब्वियसली law colleges can be subjective depending on where you get your seat or where you apply but what I have realized is I am not from a national law school. I am studying in SDM Law College, which is in Mangalore. But what I have noticed is that a lot of people feel like, maybe not getting into a national law school is going to limit your opportunities or you will not be able to be as good enough. But what I have noticed is that people, even from such colleges, it doesn't have to necessarily mean that they are gonna do everything that their college might maybe provide them. Because I've even met people that are not from national law schools doing such great work, and I've also met people that are from national law schools but they don't really know their way and things and all of that stuff. But again, that is again subjective to how you approach the whole issue. But I really believe that how you make the best out of what is given to you is really what matters. It's not about
Yes.
where you get yourself enrolled and all of such things. So really, I just want this to be there out there for people because a lot of people get anxious about this. कि like यार वहाँ पे नहीं हुआ जहाँ पे जाना था and sometimes I'm also guilty about it कि मुझे भी कभी कभी होता है कि यार मुझे ना कहीं दूसरे कॉलेज में चले जाना चाहिए था but I really feel like अगर आप लोग उसी mentality पे रहोगे it can really impact what you want to do, what you can do, or what you're able to do. तो अभी currently in my law college, my law school का क्या कह सकते हैं journey, I am aiming to be a law professor. So I still have to do my master's and my PhD and all. So for me, I have realized that if you are someone who wants to take a scholarly path, study a lot in the subjects that are given to you. But if you are someone who is dedicatedly like have decided that you are interested to practice, I feel like it is better if you get average grades in your marks because that way you are able to focus on the practical aspect of the law where you can go and intern under advocates, learn how things are because obviously the practice and the theory aspect of law has such a huge difference. जो आप theory में पढ़ते हो ना वो बहुत कम शायद आपके practice पे apply होगा. तो ये एक है एंड मेरा लॉ जर्नी आई वुड से इट हैज अप्स एंड डाउन्स बट having a really good company in law college or a friend circle really helps the whole path that you go in law colleges. So that is what my law
I was
colleges has
I
been
was
going
just
on.
about to talk about the social life about law college, like
Yes,
how
yes.
important it is, to have a good social life because every person have their own point of view and it does
Mm,
clashes in middle.
it
So
does, yes.
having a good friend circle or having a good
Mm.
connection with the people in your law college, what do you feel how important it is to have one?
I think it is important, but I don't feel like you have to go out of your way to please someone who doesn't abide with your views. I've seen this a lot where people feel this pressure that I don't really feel comfortable with them, but because now there's this whole social and even on LinkedIn, there's this whole parade of how you have to network with people, even if it does not align with you and you do not feel comfortable. I don't think so. You should force yourself to people please them or any of that sort. Because I had once heard this thing कि being on the cake, like क्या कहते हैं जो केक की जो आइसिंग वगैरह होती है, that is how life is. Your life is good, but having cherries on top is like how people are there. The life is already good, but having an extra addition of good people or in your college and all is obviously going to help you out with extra things. But not having them doesn't mean that your life is bad or something. Because I am also an introvert per se, but I sometimes have my inflections of getting extroverted and all. But there I realized that having a very close circle of people is
Yes.
important. Like 2 3 people आपके permanent होने चाहिए. But say hi hello to everyone. Because
Yeah.
after your law college, you will have to take a little bit of help from people and all. कि maybe someone might be more specialized in litigation, and maybe you are not going the litigation part. But clients come from all around the place, like all kinds of practices.
Like we
That time
don't
it's
know,
good if you have.
like when
Hmm.
we'll need someone, like when will we need,
Hmm.
like we can just always stick to one. Like we have to have a permanent friend, but yeah, we also have to have a connection with other people as well,
Hmm.
because we don't know when we'll need that people, right? So this is
Hmm. Yes. So
आगे.
yeah, that is how I would say my social life. I do not like to put too much of my social energy because भाई law college में इतना पढ़ाई होता है फिर internship करना होता है, you're already drained. So
Yeah.
social life में I say you keep 2 3 people that are your go-to, that have seen you have your breakdowns with regarding to law, but also have a little hi hello. But hi hello का मतलब ये नहीं कि if someone is completely who doesn't make you feel safe, you have to go out of your way to say hi hello to them. That is what my funda is in this.
So, in today's video, we will mostly talk about law papers.
Yes,
We'll talk about
yes,
how to create content, those picky headlines which you write, and so
yes.
interesting it is. We'll talk about those and how
Thank you.
important, LinkedIn a content, as a LinkedIn content creator, how important it is to have one to every law student. Before asking, before going into that, I'll also tell you that, like, I'll ask you some questions, like a segment. As you know, upcoming law student may have regarding the
Hmm.
content creation of LinkedIn.
Hmm.
There is a segment where will talk about the myths that other
Hmm.
people have about law student,
Hmm.
myths about NLU. So these are the three segments
Hmm.
we'll have today. And
Hmm.
before that, I'd like to say ki how law, how going to law school have changed your life, because law school is definitely very different from other schools. It
Yes.
definitely changes the perceptions or the aspect of any other people. So what do you think about it?
I think law school has actually made me much more patient with people that have different opinions than me. Before joining a law school, I mean, I know that in law school, सभी के सभी opinionated ही होते हैं. मतलब that is usually the character that mostly people align to law, that they're opinionated, they know how to speak, they're outspoken on things and all. So, what I was before I joined a law school was that I would get very easily affected by someone else's opinion if it was not in line with mine. तो मुझे ऐसा लगता था कि यार ये ऐसा क्यों सोच रहे हैं, लाइक इनको तो मेरी तरह सोचना चाहिए था. बट व्हेन आई केम टू लॉ स्कूल, you get so much exposure from very different people. They think very differently. Some might conflict even from your thinking, and some might just be different, and some might be, and जो rare शायद मिल जाए जो एकदम आपके तरह mindset के होते हैं. तो मैंने ये like realize किया है कि you cannot change that person's perception. So it's
Yeah.
better to just let that opinion exist. So you get patient and you get more resilient with people having differences. And it's good to be that way because if you get easily क्या कह सकते हैं, इजीली आपको एक टाइप का अपसेट हो जाता है ना जब किसी का ओपिनियन डिफरेंट हो, एंड इट स्टार्ट्स टू इम्पैक्ट यू कि यार मुझे नहीं बात करना है इनसे, इनका तो ओपिनियन ही सही नहीं है. इट क्रिएट्स मोर कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स इन फ्यूचर. यू कांट रियली लिव इन एन एटमॉस्फेयर वेयर देयर माइट बी डिफरेंसेस, एंड डिफरेंसेस इज समथिंग दैट कैन नेवर बी एलिमिनेटेड. हर जगह डिफरेंस आएगा. आप कभी ऐसे ऐसे टाइप की मोनोटोनस वाली जिंदगी जी ही नहीं सकते जहाँ पे सभी के ओपिनियंस आपकी तरह ही हो. Difference of opinions will be there. So in law school, I feel like I've realized this. Secondly, I feel like law schools will allow you to do a lot of mistakes, okay? Which I feel like other colleges, not other colleges per se, but I think I would frame it as something where you get a chance to learn from that mistake and do it. बिकॉज मे बी बाकी की डिग्रीज जहाँ पे मे बी 3 इयर्स, अभी मेरा तो 5 इयर्स है, 3 इयर्स के होते हैं ना मोस्टली बी कॉम वगैरह, तो वहाँ पे सब क्या हो जाता है कि देर इज नॉट दैट मच ऑफ intellectual thinking that is involved in such courses, in my
Yes.
opinion. In law there's a lot of things that happen on debates where you need to be very prevalent with the situations, what is the society thinking about it, तो ये सब चीजों का आपको बहुत ये होना चाहिए, तो that time I feel like in law colleges you can commit mistakes and then learn from them easily too, and you can have that time period also कि हाँ अभी तो मेरा learning का period है, I can do these mistakes and it's
Yes.
more kind to you, like you can forgive yourself कि हाँ मैं तो first year में थी, हो गया वो गलती, अभी मैं क्या करूँ, तो I think that, and फिलहाल तो I'm still in my second year, तो अभी तक तो उतना ही मैंने सीखा है, patience and
You
yes.
finished your fourth year, na? Like fourth semester.
Oh yeah, fourth semester, yeah, so
Now,
like second year में मेरा fourth semester, now I'll be going to my third year after
third
my
year, yes.
exams.
Now I'll be going to my
Mhm.
second.
Ooh.
So,
Yeah.
let's talk about something people always
Mhm.
talk about. They're like, I've seen in LinkedIn people are like non-NLUs,
Mhm.
non-NLU. We are non-NLU. Like, bhai, I don't like the
Mhm.
fact people calling themselves, I'm
Mhm.
non-NLU student. Like,
Mhm.
I don't like that. Like, personally, मुझे पसंद नहीं because they're like, I'm a non-NLU student, non whether they are NLU or non-NLU, it won't affect. Right now, I've seen firms accepting people who are capable of it, not someone who's from NLU only. I've
Mhm.
seen it. But I also feel कि हाँ, NLU, they have a good chance, they have a good like है. But we being a like people talking about us being a non-NLU student won't affect our future. It's all
Mhm.
about working hard in our what we want to do in our future, what we want to achieve. So what do you think about having like people talking about the tag of non-NLU student?
Okay, see, firstly, here I want to say कि I don't know, maybe I was the only person who did not know the whole non-NLU culture, because मेरा जो upbringing सब था in my background, we were never exposed to these kind of concepts कि there are prestigious in quotes obviously, कि ये बहुत superior होते हैं, यहीं पे जाना चाहिए आपको, and I am planning to be a professor, so I am very passionate about the cause of education. एंड आई फील लाइक कि जब मैं लॉ कॉलेज ज्वाइन किया था, मुझे तो एक्चुअली फ्लैट के बारे में भी नहीं पता था। आई नो पीपल दैट आर गोना बी लिसनिंग दिस, दे आर गोना बी लाइक, इसको फ्लैट नहीं पता था, ये हमें क्या बताएगी। बट नो, जेन्युइनली मैं इतना, मेरे पास एक्सपोजर नहीं था, व्हिच आल्सो कोरिलेट्स टू आवर पॉइंट दैट विल बी टॉकिंग लेटर ऑन लिंक्डइन, द एक्सपोजर दैट यू गेट फ्रॉम लिंक्डइन, कि I did not know there was a thing like CLAT. When I came to my first semester, my college doesn't have any entrance exam type of schedule. So I started to know from other classmates of mine who had applied for CLAT, but it was lockdown and COVID was happening. So many people dropped their plan. एंड मुझे क्लैट के बारे में भी नहीं पता था, तो जिस बंदी को क्लैट के बारे में नहीं पता था, मुझे तो नेशनल एलएलयूज का सब तो भूल ही जाओ कि मुझे इतना कुछ नॉलेज हो। बट मैंने ये देखा है कि आई स्टार्टेड टू गेट दैट नॉलेज in my internship under Advocate Ravi Khakar, where I was the junior head, where I used to conduct the internships and all. So there I noticed that a lot of people talk about how they feel like हम नॉन एनएलयूज के हैं तो हमारे लिए कुछ है कि भी नहीं लाइफ में, अभी
Yes.
हमारा तो चला ही गया। एंड आई फील लाइक इट इज नॉट लाइक दैट, क्योंकि आप वैसे लॉजिक से देखो तो बहुत, मतलब एक वो है ना, एक अजम्पशन कि हार्वर्ड इतना बड़ा कॉलेज है, आपने वहां पे कर लिया तो आपकी लाइफ सेट हो जाएगी, बट दैट डजंट मीन कि जो बाकी के बच्चे दूसरे कॉलेज से कर रहे हैं उनकी लाइफ तो है ही नहीं टाइप का। वी आर ऑल्सो देयर, वी आर ऑल्सो एग्जिस्टिंग। एंड मुझे जेन्युइनली ऐसा फील होता है कि आप अगर एनएलयूज में जाते हो, तो इट इज मे बी दैट यू आर पेइंग फॉर द people that come there or the exposure that you get, but you're not basically paying for the education or something. Education everywhere you get same only, in my opinion, कि लॉ कॉलेज में यहाँ पे ऐसे वाले एजुकेशन होते हैं, वहां पे भी सेम ही सब्जेक्ट्स पढ़ा रहे हैं, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ही रहेगा। बट, and another thing, because we are in such an era of social media, I feel like even if you're not from an NLU, you have so much to learn from social media things that will be as equivalent as NLU का जो
Yes.
भी उन लोग curriculum आपको exposure वगैरह देते हैं। And then you have LinkedIn also that gives you the exposure. So if you do feel that kind of a guilt कि यार मैंने नहीं किया NLUs में and all, I don't think so it's the end of the world, because genuinely there's so much more other opportunities and
Yes.
ways, because I genuinely believe in life there cannot be like only one path. कि NLU का ही path होगा for law students. There's
Yes.
so many diversions, so many things, and law we know as a subject is so diverse, so diverse. अभी तो entertainment law, fashion law, there's intellectual property rights, so many things that are coming up that you might realize कि law is so diverse. It doesn't
Yes.
have to be restricted only to an NLU path. And even if you're not you know getting selected to an NLU, that doesn't mean you cannot connect with someone who is in NLU. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure most people that get into such colleges want to expose and want to, share their experiences, what they have learned, and all of those things. So I think it doesn't really matter. But what does happen over here is कि NLUs में you're mostly paying for the exposure, whatever the people are going. It's not about the education कि आपको इतना अच्छा quality का मिलेगा. I'm saying कि it does sometimes matter, but it's not the end of the world.
Yes.
Never take it as like कि यार अभी तो लाइफ में कुछ होना ही नहीं है करके, क्योंकि मैं तो क्लैट भी नहीं जानती थी भाई, बट because of LinkedIn I'm now able to get so much exposure कि okay, this is how things work, this is how this thing works and all. So there's always loopholes to things, so don't think कि that is only the path. Loophole है हर चीज के लिए.
Yes, because
Hmm.
I think like 2 years before, while you were about to start your first year,
Hmm.
I think कि इतना exposure था ही नहीं. LinkedIn तो बहुत
Hmm.
कम पता था. Seeing YouTube, even YouTube में ना
Hmm.
vlogs अभी बहुत आने लग गए. पहले के टाइम से
हाँ.
there was no vlogs, there was nothing. We just used to know, okay, NLU CLAT के बारे में पता चल जाएगा. But talking about
Hmm.
different law colleges पता नहीं चलेगा. There are top law
Hmm.
colleges like Symbiosis हुआ, जिंदल हुआ, उसके बारे में सबको
Hmm.
पता होगा somewhere. But yes, talking about the vlog, तब होता ही
Hmm.
नहीं था. We could not see how a law student is having their law life going on. But now
Hmm.
exposure is बढ़िया है. LinkedIn,
बहुत.
yes, even if you go for LinkedIn, people make LinkedIn before starting a law journey also today. If you see,
Yeah, the whole upcoming law student wala
yeah,
thing. मुझे actually I think in January when I had joined LinkedIn, तब मुझे पता चला कि ऐसा भी कोई concept होता है कि you can like explore the law field before even your college starts. And I was like, oh my God, that is such a mind-blowing thing. Like that is actually a very good way to perceive things. तो वही तो मैं कह रही हूँ कि एक strict path नहीं होता है कोई चीज का. You
yes.
can loop around and make your own way into things. That is
Even I
what,
just
yeah.
want to say, that LinkedIn is about connection and connecting to people, but
Hmm.
it's not just about connect कर लिया and they're like, okay, I've
Hmm.
connected to a person who's from NLSIU or who's from, this law college or, who's working in this cooperative. It's not about, it's
Hmm.
talking to them, connecting to them, knowing them more and knowing about your field more. Like talking to people
Hmm.
who's an associate with tier one law firms or any other law firm. It will make easy for a person to get selected and we just know ki how that person think. Even as an HR, if you see, what comes in a mind and what like comes in his or her mind, how they want to take interns and how they give a PPO, we get to know it. We just need to connect and
Hmm.
talk to people. LinkedIn, we get that. We don't have to like call and talk.
Hmm.
We just text and we can know. Because introverted people, they don't talk much.
Yes,
It
yes.
is a way that people can, person can, anyone can connect and talk and know
Hmm.
more about their field. I feel. Okay. So
Hmm.
you are future professor. अभी से बोल देता हूँ that
Hmm.
कि even if you want to present,
Thank you. That is very sweet.
you know that laws, that law paper, it's very important.
Yes,
Somewhere
it is.
academics does hold some weightage in our CVs.
Hmm.
So,
Yes, it does.
we'll talk today about, first we'll start with the paper, law paper. Like, how do you write
Hmm.
it? How did you,
Hmm.
score such great marks?
Thank you, thank you. No, मैं बहुत passionate हूँ about law as a subject and as well as how you present it. Because I feel like a lot of people get confused कि how do you even present a law paper कि like क्या लिखना क्या होता है कि हमारे जो 12th grade में हम पढ़ते हैं, those are very, अभी जो मैं देखती हूँ ना, when I look back into my way of writing 12th grade के papers and 10th के boards के papers है ना, I'm like कितनी सी like naive थी मैं, like कितनी innocent सी थी मेरे में उतना ये लिखने के लिए, एकदम simple सा लिख के आ जाओ बस direct सा question. But now in law college, I have realized कि firstly how you prep for your exam is very important. Okay, I usually start prepping 2 months prior to my exam. That is my finals, which might not be accessible to everyone, and I understand it. Because not everyone has their whole life ka schedule free that they can. I am very privileged enough to dedicate that much time to my studies. Not everyone can do that, and not everyone has the same ability to focus on one subject because there's so many learning disabilities that also come in. So I acknowledge such things, and I feel like I'm just privileged that I'm able to grab the concept and go and present it there. But when you study for a law paper, this subject में जो होता है, I would suggest while the teacher is teaching you, right? Taking down the lecture notes is very important. And how I take down my lecture notes is I color code things. So for cases especially, I have to write it in a different color. And उस केस के नीचे क्या held हुआ था, that is very important. क्योंकि जब भी आप पेपर लिखते हो ना, in my first semester मुझे लगता था कि हम केसेस क्यों लिख रहे हैं, लाइक क्या है पॉइंट, क्या है, तो वो होता है वो नाइविटी, आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड दैट, कि मैं भी वही वैसे ही सोचती थी कि हम केस क्यों लिख रहे हैं। इट्स डन सो दैट यू कैन बैक अप योर आंसर, कि भाई
Yes.
मेरे पास प्रूफ है, एविडेंस है कि जो मैं बोल रही हूँ वो एक्चुअली में कहीं पे हेल्ड किया गया है। तो दैट इज गोना एड क्रेडिबिलिटी टू योर आंसर। तो ऑब्वियसली द केसेस का तो बहुत ऑब्वियस है, बट आई जस्ट वांटेड टू से इट फॉर पीपल दैट डिडंट नो अबाउट इट। एंड केसेस का भी एक लिखने का स्टाइल होता है, दैट इज
Yes.
यू राइट द हेडिंग, बट व्हेन यू राइट योर केसेस ना, try to write it in a very big font size, okay? Because when the character is seeing na, if it seems too monotonous, sometimes the case का क्या कह सकते हैं, the impression doesn't come as same as
Yeah.
आपने अगर highlighted करके लिखा है कि हाँ ये केस है, तो मैंने यहाँ पे कैप्स में उसका हेडिंग लिखा है जो भी केस हो, लाइक। तो उसके बाद में नीचे आपको हार्डली 2 लाइन के फैक्ट्स बताने होते हैं, डोंट गो एंड डिग इन सो डीप। अगर आपको किसी को ऐसा सोचो, जब आप केस लिख रहे हो कि यू आर एक्सप्लेनिंग द केस टू योर पेरेंट्स, जैसे जितना लेमैन लैंग्वेज में आप अपने पेरेंट्स को समझा सकोगे, इट विल ओनली मैक्सिमम टेक 2 या 3 लाइन्स। दैट मच इज हाउ मच यू शुड राइट योर केस का फैक्ट। द हेल्ड पार्ट, हेल्ड पार्ट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, वेयर हाउ यू राइट कि ये जगह पे या ये केस पे ये हेल्ड हुआ था, कोर्ट ने ये बोला था, वो कैसे कनेक्टेड है टू माय होल कॉन्सेप्ट, या हाउ इज इट कनेक्टिंग टू माय आंसर। अभी आई
Yes.
थिंक इन टॉट्स का एक केस है, डैमनम साइन इंजूरिया एंड इंजूरिया साइन डैमनम का, वो एक वो मैक्सिम है। तो वहां पे आई थिंक देयर इज दिस केस ऑफ भीम सिंह वर्सेस स्टेट ऑफ जम्मू एंड कश्मीर। तो वो केस में क्या हुआ था कि द पर्सन हु वाज अ पॉलिटिशियन, उसका जो राइट था टू गो एंड अटेंड द असेंबली इलेक्शन, दैट वाज रिस्ट्रिक्टेड विदाउट एनी रीजनेबल रीजन। ठीक है, कोई रीजन नहीं दिया गया, तो उसका लिबर्टी टू अटेंड, दैट इज आर्टिकल 21 जो है, लिबर्टी, फ्रीडम टू गो, फ्रीडम टू एक्सप्रेस एंड लिबर्टी का, वो नहीं हो रहा था उसको, ठीक है। तो उन्होंने वो रिस्ट्रिक्ट कर दिया था। तो दिस गाय देन लेटर ऑन, माय फैक्ट्स माइट बी अ लिटिल मडल्ड अप क्योंकि ये बहुत पहले मैंने पेपर लिखा
No,
था,
no,
सो
it's
आई
fine.
अपोलोजाइज इफ इट्स रॉन्ग। बट यहाँ पे द होल कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ दिस थॉट का कॉन्सेप्ट वाज कि अगर आपको एक्चुअल फिजिकल इंजरी भी नहीं हुआ है, दैट डजंट मैटर, योर राइट इज वायलेटेड, सो यू विल बी कंपनसेटेड। वेराज अगर आपको एक्चुअल फिजिकल इंजरी भी हुआ है पर कोई लीगल राइट इज नॉट वायलेटेड, दैट टाइम यू विल नॉट गेट एनी कंपनसेशन। सो द मेन एम्फोसिस ऑन कि आपका लीगल राइट शुड बी वायलेटेड। So this legal right का concept is very well explained in this case of Bhim Singh versus State of Jammu and Kashmir. तो वो held में लिखा है कि उसका जो है सिर्फ लीगल राइट वायलेट हुआ था, इवन इफ उसको फिजिकल इंजरी नहीं हुई है तो भी उसको कंपनसेशन मिलेगा, ठीक है। तो यू नीड टू राइट दैट इन द हेल्ड पार्ट एंड यू हैव टू कनेक्ट इट टू योर कॉन्सेप्ट दैट यू आर राइटिंग अबाउट। तो दैट इज वन थिंग। एंड कमिंग टू द फैक्ट कि many people get very क्या कह सकते हैं, flustered on how to remember so many cases, because I
Yeah.
also struggle with that कि भाई इतने केसेस है, कैसे कोई याद कर सकता है। एंड दिस थिंग आई हैव रियलाइज नाउ इन माय फोर्थ सेमेस्टर विद ट्रायल एंड एरर, कि केसेस के लिए ना यू कैन नेवर सिट, मे बी 4 डेज पहले भी आपका एग्जाम होगा ना, आप 4 डेज पहले भी बैठ के ये नहीं सोच सकते कि हाँ केसेस अभी याद हो जाएंगे। 4 डेज में हो ही नहीं सकता, इट इज स्टिल वेरी लेस टाइम, unless you have like really good memory. I am very jealous of such people जिनके पास इतनी अच्छी memory होगी, but
I
I
want to add
cannot.
a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Yeah,
what I do? I make a
yeah.
abbreviation and a very funny abbreviations so that I
Same,
remember.
same.
So that
Yes, yes,
I remember it and it will be very easier for me to write it. Because if I remember
yes.
the name only, now I can write about this case. Like even if I've studied
Mm-hmm.
about the case and I don't remember the name, it won't be any effect to my paper. But
Mm-hmm.
remembering the name is very important. Then we can easily go for those cases that we have read or the writing part. But
Mm-hmm.
the name what I do is I make abbreviation and I make it very funny so that I remember it till.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. And another thing, what I used to do, because I'm such a visual learner, okay, for me, I cannot go through the denseness of a text, which is so contradictory to a law student because आपको इतने text पढ़ने होते हैं. But I need something like funny type का चीज होना चाहिए बीच में या कुछ visual representation होना चाहिए जिससे मेरे
Yes.
को ease हो अपने eyes पे कि यार इतना भी ज्यादा heavy ना लगे अपने brain पे. So what I did for my constitution का paper, now whatever tips I'm giving, it's like my own trial and error. So some kid it might work, it might not work. So in my trial and error, I have realized कि when a case is there and it's a landmark case in any concept, उसके बाजू में ना मैं कुछ ऐसा टाइप का पिक्टोरियल इमोजीज या समथिंग बनाती हूँ दैट रिलेट्स टू द केस. ओके, सो आई थिंक देयर वाज दिस केस ऑफ in Constitution 1, okay, in the fundamental rights, there was this case about something कि क्या था, हाँ, लिकर केस था, लाइक रिगार्डिंग अल्कोहल का समथिंग. तो मैंने क्या किया, मैंने साइड पे वाइन की बोतल और वाइन का ग्लास बना दिया. अब मेरे को से रिमेम्बर रहेगा कि ये केस में वाइन से रिलेटेड है. नाउ द
Yes.
थिंग विद केसेस इज कि आपको शायद नाम पता हो, फिर आप स्टेट का नाम भूल जाते हो कि ये कौन से स्टेट में हुआ था, भाई मुझे वो याद नहीं आ रहा. तो वो भी एक बहुत बड़ा इशू हो जाता है. सो डोंट जस्ट एम्फोसाइज ऑन कि हाँ यही है, यही नाम है, और बाकी का स्टेट भूल जाना है. बिकॉज मेरे साथ बहुत हुआ है कि मैं एग्जाम में होता है और मैं फिर भूल जाती हूँ कि स्टेट कौन सा था जहाँ पे ये केस अकर हुआ था. तो वो भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है कि आपको स्टेट भी याद रहे. एंड जब मैं फैक्ट्स भी लिखती हूँ, वो मैं विजुअली जो मैंने थोड़ा सा क्यूट सा इमोजी कुछ बनाया होता है उससे रिमेम्बर कर लेती हूँ. एंड इट रियली हेल्प्स, क्योंकि जब मैंने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का मेरी नोट्स में प्रिपेयर करी थी, मैं तुम्हें एक बार भेजूंगी, ठीक है, मेरे नोट्स का.
Okay.
इट इज सो क्यूट, आई एम टेलिंग यू. एंड आई हैव टू ऑल्सो एम्फोसाइज ऑन दिस वन थिंग which I have been seeing going around a lot on LinkedIn. Okay, people
Yes.
give out the free notes ka thing. I think it is good if you are someone who doesn't have the time to make notes and you are someone who has a lot of own personal commitments.
Yes.
But मेरा ये मानना है कि
एक मिनट.
I am I audible?
Yes, yes. Now you just got stuck in the middle about this.
अभी आ रही हूँ ना?
Yeah, yeah. The sharing of notes.
ओके. तो आई वाज सेइंग कि जो लिंक्डइन पे भी बहुत नोट्स वगैरह शेयरिंग, आई थिंक इट्स गुड इफ यू जस्ट वांट एन ओवरव्यू ऑफ थिंग्स. बिकॉज मैंने नोटिस किया कि सम नोट्स एकदम इतना कुछ अच्छा नहीं होता है. इट्स लाइक पॉपुलराइज्ड एंड रीपोस्टेड बिकॉज हाँ फ्री के नोट्स है, फ्री के नोट्स है. बट जो क्वालिटी आपको शायद टेक्स्ट बुक में टाइम इतना एफर्ट डाल के पढ़ के समझने में आएगा ना, it can never come from notes that are just like circulated for like easement or something. You can rely on it just for a briefing thing. But
Yeah.
what I've learned while making my own personal notes is, firstly, when you write and learn, you actually are getting some muscle memory in your hand कि हाँ मैंने लिखा है. तो sometimes during the exam time आपको actually वो आपका खुद का hand can remember it. It sounds funny कि आपका हाथ के पास कैसे memory होगा, but it does.
But it
Muscle
does.
memory does work. And the second thing is, it helps you in your practice aspect because जब आप एक टेक्स्ट बुक से पढ़ते हो, राइट, टेक्स्ट बुक इज ओवरबर्डन विद सो मच ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन. तो उस इंफॉर्मेशन से टू अंडरस्टैंड कि क्या रेलेवेंट है टू माय कॉन्सेप्ट एंड क्या सबसे ज्यादा चीज मेरे को बताना चाहिए प्रोफेसर को व्हेन आई एम प्रेजेंटिंग माय आंसर, उसकी आपको एक थोड़ा सा ना एक्सपीरियंस हो जाता है. एंड दिस एक्सपीरियंस comes in your place of practice where a client can come and give a lot of information about himself, about their case, unka dispute and everything. But what is relevant from his dispute that the judge should be aware of, that makes a huge point and you can include a lot of law के provisions, उसका practice आपको law के notes से मिलता है, like when you're making your own personalized notes. It really does. And I have
Yes.
noticed this since two of my semesters कि, and also from the internship that I'm doing under, कि when I had gotten an opportunity to draft, I had realized कि मुझे समझ नहीं जा रहा कि क्या relevant है on the facts that I have to give about my client and what should I exclude. कि जब आप सुनते हो ना क्लाइंट की बातें, आपको एक थोड़ा सा एम्पैथी होता है कि यार इसके तो सारे बात मेरे को इंपॉर्टेंट लग रही है, जज को मालूम होना चाहिए इसका पूरा बैकग्राउंड. बट दैट इज नॉट हाउ थिंग्स वर्क. वैसे तो टेक्स्ट बुक में भी वही बहुत सारी चीजें होंगी जो आपको कॉन्सेप्ट में बहुत अच्छा भी लगे कि हाँ ये तो होना चाहिए, पर उसमें से सबसे ज्यादा जो आपसे स्टैंड आउट करता है एंड दैट रिलेट्स टू द कॉन्सेप्ट, वो आपको निकालने में बहुत अच्छा प्रैक्टिस मिलता है व्हेन यू मेक योर ओन नोट्स. सो आई फर्मली बिलीव कि आप नोट्स, you can surf it, you can brief up from other internet पे sources, but learning from your own textbook, यानी लाइब्रेरी का आपके पास सर्विसेज है तो exploit the hell out of the library in your college. There's so much of resources there, कितने टेक्स्ट बुक्स होते हैं. एंड ये सब obviously boils down to how much time you have एंड आप कितना एफर्ट डाल सकते हो, क्योंकि आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड कि समटाइम्स नहीं होता है उतना,
Yes.
लाइक क्या बोल सकते हैं, कंटिन्यूसली पढ़ना. बट on those purposes, YouTube, YouTube is a lifesaver. I'm telling you, YouTube as a क्या कह सकते हैं, as an app, as a form that exists on the internet only. I am so grateful कि मैंने अपने फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर से लेके अभी तक कितने सारे लीगल कॉन्सेप्ट्स फ्रॉम यूट्यूब ही पढ़ा है. क्योंकि कभी कभी, एंड आई एम नॉट ट्राइंग टू डिस और समथिंग, बट यू विल मीट अ लॉट ऑफ बैड प्रोफेसर्स who might themselves not know much about the concept, पर हो जाता है कभी कभी. तो दैट टाइम यूट्यूब रियली हेल्प्स आउट कि टू क्लियर आउट योर माइंड कि ओके ये कॉन्सेप्ट का मतलब क्या है. एंड द पर्सन, एंड अभी तो यूट्यूब में हिंदी एंड मेनी डिफरेंट लैंग्वेजेस, मैंने तो मलयालम लैंग्वेजेस के देखे, मराठी लैंग्वेज के देखे, मुझे आता नहीं है पर मैंने एक्सप्लोर किया कि अच्छा इतने सारे वाइड वैरायटी के यूट्यूबर्स भी
Yes.
हैं. जो लॉ का सब्जेक्ट है ना, बहुत सारे वीडियोस है आपके पास ऑनलाइन. तो वहाँ पे इफ यू आर वेरी शॉर्ट ऑन टाइम यू कैन रेफर दोज थिंग्स. तो वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. सो हाउ यू मेक योर नोट्स will help you how you write your paper, and um, how well versed you are with your concept will help you with the time limit in the exam. तो 3 घंटे होते हैं, तो वहां पे ना आप ये कंफ्यूज नहीं रह सकते. यू डोंट हैव टाइम. जब हम बोर्ड्स वगैरह लिखते थे ना, वी कुड एक्चुअली टेक 2 minutes टाइम टू रिकलेक्ट आवर
Yeah.
मेमोरी कि भाई हाँ मुझे ये कॉन्सेप्ट शायद पता हो. बट इन अ लॉ पेपर इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर यू टू एक्चुअली इवन फाइंड 1 minute to sit and recollect your points. Rather you have to be very confident on the spot when you have to write a paper. अभी हमारे इसमें तो we get options when you have to attempt a question. तो जब हम अटेम्प्ट करते हैं ना, आई चूज द आंसर जो मैं विद इन 5 सेकेंड में उसका एक ब्रीफ दे सकती हूँ अपने ब्रेन पे. मैं बाकी के जो, अगर दूसरा कोई क्वेश्चन हो जिसको मेरे को थोड़ा सा टाइम लग रहा है टू थिंक अप द पॉइंट्स, आई विल नॉट अटेम्प्ट दैट क्वेश्चन, बिकॉज आपके पास 3 घंटे में टाइम नहीं है टू वेस्ट इट ऑन कि हाँ थोड़ा ब्रेन स्टॉर्मिंग करके मैं कुछ ना कुछ भर दूंगी. यू हैव टू बी वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट विद योर आंसर.
And
दैट
you
इज
know,
इट.
it's not just about also hard working, it's about something you have to make your mind okay, because you know you have to keep a mind ki, okay, we have 10 modules and there are like 8 questions you have to come, and we know that eight, you know,
हम्म.
chapters are important, that 8 modules are important, that I'm gonna focus on and look towards, that is important. We have to, because पूरे 10 के 10 पढ़ जाएंगे ना, like we don't have time कि at the last moment also when we start working, like कल एग्जाम है and today from morning even if I start now, 10 के 10 मॉड्यूल खत्म होना बहुत मुश्किल है. But instead
बहुत
of doing
मुश्किल है.
that hard working, we either go for कि हमने क्या
दैट्स व्हाट आई एम
लिखना
सेइंग. ये वाले में ना हार्ड वर्क करो पर स्मार्ट वर्कली अप्लाई करो
है.
अपना हार्ड वर्क. दैट इज ट्रू कि आप ना पूरे चीज तो नहीं पढ़ सकते. यू हैव टू स्किप कॉन्सेप्ट्स ऑब्वियसली, बट स्किप कर रहे हो तो ये नहीं है कि आपको कभी फ्यूचर में नहीं काम आए. क्योंकि अभी मैंने आई थिंक मेरे टॉट्स के पेपर में मैंने मोटर व्हीकल्स एक्ट का मैंने स्किप कर दिया था क्योंकि वो बहुत टाइम ले रहा था एंड आई डिडंट इवन हैव. बट नाउ आई एम रियलाइजिंग कि आई शुड टेक मे बी अ वीकेंड ऑफ एंड लर्न दैट एमटीवी का मोटर
Yeah.
व्हीकल्स एक्ट, सो दैट आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड. क्योंकि एक्चुअल प्रैक्टिस में तो बहुत सारे एक्सीडेंट्स होते हैं एंड मुझे मालूम होना चाहिए उस लॉ के प्रोविजन. तो स्किप करो फॉर द स्कोरिंग पर्पसेस, बट बी वेरी स्ट्रेटेजिक विद व्हाट यू स्किप वगैरह.
Yeah.
तो हार्ड वर्क करो पर अप्लाई इट स्मार्टली. यस, दैट आई
we
एग्री
just
विद यू व्हाट यू
we
सेड.
just have to see, you know, where the marks we are getting, and we have to spread it
हम्म.
like, okay, यहाँ पे इतने marks मिलेंगे, यहाँ पे इतने, and you
हम्म.
have to realize. And even you know when we get the first 10 marks to check our question paper and then start, वो 10 marks के ना पूरा mind पे वो mapping हो जाना चाहिए था कि इस पे मैं ये points
माइंड मैप, या दैट्स द वर्ड, माइंड मैप हो जाना चाहिए आपको कि आपका 2 सेकंड में आप कैसे ब्रीफ करके ओके तो अब मैं इस क्वेश्चन में
yeah.
कॉन्फिडेंट हूँ. पर बाकी के क्वेश्चन में अगर आपको और टाइम लग रहा है टू बिल्ड अप द माइंड मैप, यू शुड स्किप दैट क्वेश्चन बिकॉज यू डोंट हैव द टाइम इन 3 hours टू थिंक ऑन इट वगैरह. तो या
And you know
दैट
I
इज
think
वन.
like these are the important things that we need to know. अभी तो I guess यही चीज चाहिए अभी
हम्म.
first second year
हम्म.
वाले law students को, you know. So
हम्म.
I guess we should move to other part, which is like content
यस.
creation on LinkedIn.
यस.
I
यस,
already
आई एम
have
एक्साइटेड.
I already have some questions. Okay.
ओह.
So first we
हम्म.
should start. You know, I want to question you the importance of content creation in LinkedIn. How important it is.
हम्म. Firstly, I'm saying you, LinkedIn is like a God given gift for you in case you're a student. Most people say कि यार आप अभी तक वर्क लाइफ में आए नहीं हो तो लिंक्डइन का क्या करना है, एंड दिस वाज माय परसेप्शन टू. क्योंकि मेरे को जब तक पता नहीं था, आई वाज जस्ट थिंकिंग कि दिस इज मे बी जस्ट फॉर पीपल जिनके पास एक्चुअली जॉब है. बट you as a student also has, like you have so much of things that you can explore when you're
Yes.
on LinkedIn. And it is not only work related. So many people that are working give you like their life का work life experience कि हाँ आज हमने ये केस सॉल्व किया, so many people, like, they put about the bail application, advocates only, they put and post about हाँ तो criminal procedure कैसे किया जाता है. They write on those things just
Yeah.
because they like to write, and you as a student, you get a lot of exposure कि okay ऐसा होता है. So it's not only about working, but you get to learn a lot from LinkedIn. Coming to the content creation aspect, I want to emphasize on this that everyone's opinion matters. Okay, I feel like a lot of people think कि यार मेरे में वो बात नहीं है कि मैं कंटेंट क्रिएट करूं, लाइक मेरे में वो है ही नहीं बात, लाइक मेरे से हो नहीं सकता. आई एम नॉट दैट यूनिक इनफ और आई एम नॉट दैट केपेबल इनफ. आई फील लाइक नेवर थिंक अबाउट योर सेल्फ लाइक दैट. फर्स्टली जो भी यहाँ पे सुन रहा है ये पॉडकास्ट, नेवर थिंक अबाउट योर सेल्फ लाइक दैट. आई थिंक एवरी वन हैज समथिंग यूनिक टू देम. Everyone has something very valuable to share to everyone, and everyone wants to listen to you. Never think कि आपका value is आपका opinion इतना valuable नहीं है. अभी मेरा एक फ्रेंड है दीपांश, ओके, ही इज ऑन लिंक्डइन, एंड ही एक्चुअली डिडंट क्रिएट कंटेंट पर से वगैरह, बट ही वाज जस्ट फॉर हिज लिंक्डइन वर्क पर्पस एंड ऑल. तो ही वाज देयर. फिर मैं जब एक्चुअली ही वाज द पर्सन हु इंक्लूडेड मी इन लिंक्डइन, ही मेड मी द होल अकाउंट एंड ही टोल्ड मी कि देखो ऐसा होता है लिंक्डइन पे, तुम भी आ जाओ. इफ इट वाज नॉट हिम, आई थिंक आई वुड हैव नॉट इवन रियलाइज कि लिंक्डइन टाइप का एक कम्युनिटी भी है. तो आई
You know,
केम ऑन लिंक्डइन.
there's also a problem कि कॉलेज में ना बताया जाता ही नहीं आजकल लिंक्डइन के बारे में.
नहीं,
बहुत सारी कॉलेजेस है
एग्जैक्टली.
बिकॉज
अभी तो एक्चुअली मैं ना अभी ऐसे बैठ के मैं सोच रही हूँ, लाइक यार कॉलेज में ये लिंक्डइन के बारे में बात होना चाहिए, लाइक क्यों नहीं हो रही है बात इस बात पे.
बिकॉज मैंने एंटर माई कॉलेज में सीनियर्स were like देख इंस्टाग्राम बनाया ना बनाओ लिंक्डइन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. और
वेरी
यू नो व्हेन आई
इंपॉर्टेंट.
स्टार्टेड लिंक्डइन आई फेल्ट इट सो बोरिंग फॉर 1 to 2 months.
भाई मेरे को पता है क्या हुआ था, मैंने जब लिंक्डइन खोला था, मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा था मैं इंटरनेट एक्सप्लोरर में कोई वेबसाइट ढूंढ रही हूँ.
या
इट फेल्ट लाइक द फॉर्मेट वाज सो न्यू एंड एलियन टू मी, एंड आई वाज जस्ट लाइक क्या हो क्या रहा है यहाँ पे, लाइक कनेक्ट का मतलब क्या है, कि मैं फॉलो कर रही हूँ या वो मेरे को फॉलो. कनेक्ट का मुझे एक्चुअली कनेक्ट का मालूम भी नहीं था मतलब कि क्या होता है. एंड आई जॉइंड लिंक्डइन दिस ईयर ओनली, सो आई एम स्टिल अ वेरी न्यू यूजर टू लिंक्डइन.
even
बट आई
I
फील.
joined even I joined
कंटिन्यू.
LinkedIn very recently, you know, when I was interning with you guys, when I was like, you know, you're the session and I'm
Yes,
just
yes.
interning, and I'm just thinking, I just used to see people who are very enthusiastic about this field and used to write it, and you know, especially Ishika, Utkarsh, I used to get
Hmm.
shocked by seeing their, you know, the way they create their content and they put out to the people, and they're so
Hmm.
helpful and reaching out. They're like, if we ask help, no, they'll
Hmm.
never be like, no. You just need, if they're like, we don't have time, they're like, just wait for this minute, I'll just text you
Hmm.
back, talk about it. So these are the things, you know, LinkedIn is very helpful, I think. ठीक है, अभी
Hmm.
सारा आंसर अभी यहाँ मत दे दे, अभी I'll question you.
हाँ, obviously, obviously, yes,
Okay,
yes, yes.
these are some questions that students and upcoming students or student being in the first year may have, because first semester पे, as I said,
Yes.
LinkedIn is very boring. We don't know what LinkedIn is. But talking about the importance of LinkedIn, we'll come to like second semester, third semester. People are there who's
Hmm.
coming to third year and they're knowing कि LinkedIn is so important. So you know,
Yes,
like,
yes.
okay, so some questions. Let's start with the first one. Like, how can content creation on LinkedIn help me as a law student in building my professional brand?
See, firstly, coming to the same thing that I was saying about Deepansh, he had introduced me into it. And then I realized कि, let me make a community type का thing. What I've realized over here now, even if I'm like, मेरे को शायद 4 ही महीने हुए हैं on LinkedIn, but I've realized कि एक बहुत community सा form हो जाता है. You feel like you have a motivation. आपको actually में
Yes,
motivation feel करता है. You feel like okay, I have a community to react, to help. You feel belonged is what I have realized in these 4 months of mine in LinkedIn. And मैंने फिर जाके अपना स्टार्ट किया क्रिएटर मोड. एंड देन आई टोल्ड इट टू दीपांश ऑल्सो कि भाई तू तू क्रिएटर मोड क्यों नहीं ट्राई करता, बिकॉज ही इज अटेम्प्टिंग फॉर हिज जुडिशरी. So I said, even if you might not be confident about what you know right now, why don't you just share it to people? Maybe same type के तेरे जैसे लोग होंगे जिनको अभी भी confusion है कि यार ये जब
yeah,
समझ नहीं जा रहा मेरे को जुडिशरी में कौन सा. So you can create a community with people that
yes,
similarly face the same experience or they think alike like you. तो आपको एक अच्छा community होता है. And then sometimes even people DM you asking things कि भाई
yes,
यहाँ पे कैसे करना है, यहाँ पे कैसे करना है. And I feel like I feel very honored when people reach out to me कि oh my god, you actually trust me, you trust me कि मैं आपकी help कर सकती हूँ. So I
yes,
feel like it gives you motivation. क्योंकि law college I can say you it is very draining. लॉ कॉलेज के सब्जेक्ट एंड समटाइम्स प्रोफेसर से भी आपका शायद तू मैं होने का चांसेस हो जाता है कभी कभी. सो इट कैन गेट वेरी मंडेन लॉ कॉलेजेस. But when you have a community on LinkedIn, which I know is very virtual and maybe आपने उस person से मिला भी नहीं होगा कभी, but it makes you feel belonged. It actually makes you feel like sense of motivation कि हाँ कोई और कुछ कर रहा है. तो मैं and मैंने एक और एक चीज नोटिस की है कि it becomes easier for me to approach people who have worked at a place where I want to work. I can approach them directly and tell them कि हाँ तो आपने कैसे ये किया वगैरह. There is एक type का openness कि आप किसी से भी जाके पूछ सकते हो.
Yes.
In real life मे बी अगर मेरे को एक एडवोकेट के अंदर जाके काम करना है, आई कैन जस्ट स्ट्रेट अप शो अप ऑन हिज फेस एंड से कि मेरे को चाहिए. आई शुड एक्चुअली आस्क पीपल फ्रॉम अराउंड. फॉर पीपल फ्रॉम अराउंड फिजिकल मोड में इट विल बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर मी टू फाइंड कि कौन कौन ने इंटर्न किया है. ऑन लिंक्डइन दैट बिकम्स वेरी इजी. एट योर बेड जब आप रील्स वगैरह भी स्क्रॉल कर रहे होगे, आप सीधा जाके लिंक्डइन पे जंप करके पूछ सकते हो किसी से जिसने आपकी कोई जो भी फॉर्म पे आप काम करना चाहते हो, दे हैव मे बी वर्क देयर एज एन इंटर्न पास्ट में. यू कैन आस्क देम कि आपको कैसा लगा. एंड आई हैव डन दिस अ लॉट. Like there were few Supreme Court advocates के internships where I wanted to intern because मेरे को लगा कि exposure कुछ होगा. And I found another girl who was interned there. Because जब आप एडवोकेट की प्रोफाइल में जाते हो, यू कैन सी कि कौन कौन
Yes.
फॉलो कर रहा है, कौन कौन वर्क किया, एलुमनाई वगैरह टाइप. तो मैंने जाके वो लड़की को टेक्स्ट किया. एंड आई जस्ट टेक्स्टेड हर. आई डोंट इवन नो हर. आई जस्ट टेक्स्टेड हर कि आपने वहाँ पे वर्क किया है ना, तो आपको कैसा लगा, डू यू थिंक आई शुड पुट माई टाइम देयर. एंड आई लव द ऑनेस्टी आल्सो दैट पीपल हैव ऑन लिंक्डइन. एटलीस्ट ऑन द
Yes.
पर्सनल जब आप डीएम करते हो.
They
आई डोंट
want,
नो ऑन.
yes, I feel like they want exactly say कि not interning under this law firm or not this, but they'll just put their, their point of view, what they had faced in that. So yeah, I feel like they are very honest. And as I said, I was talking to associate because everyone has a craze of going to law firm, especially when they come to second or third year. So even when I talked to that person, he was like, okay, and was like, please help me with my CV. Can you just check? And I'm like, okay, and check it. He and gave a like very honest review about it, and it was like so honesty it is there. People won't tell you, okay, bhai, kar lo, it's very good, jaise bhi karke. Even if that person have not a good experience on that, they'll say they won't be saying like that. They will be very honest and tell you what it is.
मैंने उसको अप्रोच किया था एंड शी वाज सो ब्लंट एंड ऑनेस्ट एंड शी सेड कि देखो मैंने वहां पे किया है, बट मैं कहती हूँ कि आप ये वाले इंटर्नशिप पे जाओ. लाइक शी सजेस्टेड मी चॉइसेस आल्सो कि आप जाके यहाँ पे करो, यहाँ पे मत करो. मैंने यहाँ पे किया है, ये बेटर होगा आपके लिए. एंड आई टोल्ड हर विच सेमेस्टर आई एम. सो शी टुक द टाइम आउट टू सी कि हाँ आपने ये सेमेस्टर में इतने सब्जेक्ट्स पढ़े होंगे, तो आई वुड सजेस्ट कि आप यहाँ पे जाओ, दिस माइट मेक मोर सेंस. जब आप शायद थर्ड या नॉट थर्ड, लाइक फोर्थ या फिफ्थ ईयर में होंगे, तब यहाँ पे अप्लाई करना. So the fact that people go out of their way on LinkedIn to help you out, especially students, जो भी students होते हैं आपके seniors होते हैं ना, even juniors for that fact,
Yeah.
सब help करने के लिए होते हैं वहाँ पे on LinkedIn. तो जब आप content creation करते हो, right, it kind of makes you, like it kind of presents you to the world there. आप जब किसी से एडवाइस लोगे तो that person might also see and view your profile ना, कि आपको एक्चुअली में है इंटरेस्ट, आपका कैसा है,
Yes.
कौन से जगहों पे आपको स्पेशलाइज करना है. एंड दे कैन गिव यू अ कस्टमाइज्ड एडवाइस अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट कि आपको कहाँ पे जाना चाहिए. तो कंटेंट क्रिएशन में एक तो कम्युनिटी बिल्डिंग बहुत अच्छी होती है. एंड हम लोग एज इंडिविजुअल्स ना, एज ह्यूमन बींग्स, आई डोंट नो, आजकल बड़ा ट्रेंड सा था कि मैं हाइपर इंडिपेंडेंट हूँ, आई कैन डू एवरीथिंग बाय माई सेल्फ. एक ट्रेंड चलता है कभी कभी सोशल मीडिया में कि दे वांट टू डू एवरीथिंग बाय देमसेल्फ, बट आई फर्मली डू नॉट बिलीव इन दैट. आई थिंक अस एज ह्यूमन बींग्स वी आर सोशल. We need to rely on each other. We have to share shoulders with each other.
Yes.
So I don't think so आप ऐसा बोल सकते हो कि मैं सारी चीज अपने आप ही कर लूंगी, लॉ फॉर्म भी मैं अपने आप ही अकेले ढूंढ लूंगी. That whole self-made का thing. I feel like you need to rely on others. You have to ask, you need to build, you need to expand your reach to other people and create a community. That time it really helps you.
You
And ये
know,
बात एक्चुअली में कुछ लोग शायद ये पॉडकास्ट सुन के अगर आपने कंटेंट मोड स्टार्ट किया यानी क्रिएटर मोड, you will realize this after a while कि actually में it makes you feel more motivated. The mundaneness of law college starts you make more this LinkedIn profile makes you feel more inspired कि हाँ मैंने यहाँ पे करना है, मुझे यहाँ पे आके response देने होते
yes.
हैं, I have people to respond to. It makes you feel very motivated.
Talking about the help, when we go to first semester in our college,
Mm-hmm.
everyone's very excited, especially. And
Mm-hmm.
I've heard this in NLSIU. There is like rank family. The one who's from the same rank, like if they're from rank one, all the rank one will be a family. All the rank two will be the family. Till the end, all the ranks are gonna be the family. So
Mm-hmm.
this is what they do, and they help each other instead of being that
Mm-hmm.
that same member from
Mm-hmm.
and being from the first, they help each other, and that's something I like
Hmm.
so much about it. Like I
Yes,
said,
yes. But same thing concept comes on LinkedIn too. Like people are very open to help and मेरे भी जितने अभी friends circles and the thing is आपका जो experience होगा ना on LinkedIn it will force you to force your friends to join. आपको इतना वो हो जाता है ambition सा हो जाता है passion सा कि भाई तू LinkedIn join करके तू देख मैं भी तेरे तरह ही सोची थी कि यार LinkedIn क्या होगा तू एक बार ज्वाइन कर इतने सारे अपॉर्चुनिटीज इतना है हेल्प तेरे के लिए वहां पे अवेलेबल तो मैंने खुद अपने 2-3 दोस्तों को फोर्स करके लाया एंड दे आर आल्सो नाउ लाइक हाँ यार ये तो एक्चुअली सही जगह है सो या दैट इज व्हाट
okay, so another question is, does LinkedIn content creation play a role in increasing my visibility to potential recruiters or law firms?
आई थिंक इट डज बिकॉज वहां पे अगर आपके पास एक कम्युनिटी है अबाउट थिंग्स एंड यू आर एबल टू एक्सप्रेस योरसेल्फ व्हेन यू एक्सप्रेस योरसेल्फ व्हाइल कंटेंट क्रिएशन आल्सो ना it brings out your personality and the recruiters want to see कि क्या separate करता है आपको maybe from somebody else who has same type के college से आप आए हो या something so that time when you are creating content you are putting out your personality over there अब वो अलग बात है आप अगर कुछ जगहों पे सेलेक्ट नहीं हो जो सेलेक्ट करके रिक्रूटर आपको यूनिक फाइंड करेगा वो आके आपको कर ही लेगा सेलेक्ट ठीक है यू डोंट हैव टू बी वरीड अबाउट कि यार मेरे को ऐसा पर्सोना रखना चाहिए सो दैट आई गेट सिलेक्टेड समवेयर बी योरसेल्फ दैट इज व्हाट आई से इन कंटेंट क्रिएशन कि only to an extent you can be fake or have a fake persona online so what things you are passionate about portray it on your content कि मुझे
Yes.
ये चीजों से इफेक्ट होता है I want to talk on these things portray it over there जो लोग I think this it might sound a very cliche wali quote, but I think it stands very true. कि your vibe will attract your tribe. मैं ये बहुत मानती हूँ इस बात पे कि you being yourself is more than enough. जिनको आपके साथ बनेगी वो अपने आप आ जाएंगे. You don't have to
Yes.
go and seek out for people. Your vibe will actually may bring out the groups that will be interested in you. So
Yes.
that is what I firmly believe in. So yeah, exactly your
So
point.
another question is, are there any specific guidelines or best practices for creating content on LinkedIn to
Hmm.
ensure it is engaging and relevant to my audience?
Hmm. With the engagement and all, even I am right now trying to experiment with things. But on YouTube, as I said, YouTube में LinkedIn के बारे में भी इतने सारे videos है. Like there are people that are specialized on LinkedIn. They know how the platform works.
Yes.
मैं उनकी भी YouTube videos देखती हूँ कभी-कभी जब
Because
time होता है कि हाँ
I guess LinkedIn is not a place where there's only LLB students or law students. There's like from
हम्म,
business management. There are students from like different areas, from graphic designing, and being a
yes
LinkedIn creator, I feel we get not only uh, a time where we just talk about law, but we also talk about other things. I see there are opportunities coming, as interning as a graphic designer. If you're interested in designing, we talking about fashion law itself. There's like many more journals or many more.
And you know what? We as law students, our subject law only requires us to diversify ourselves into so many different things. So I believe in LinkedIn ना अपना circle सिर्फ law graduates या lawyers तक ही मत रखो.
Yes,
Go for different things. जो लोग ने engineering किए उनकी भी help लो. ये पता नहीं future में आपको case आ जाए जहाँ पे आपको कोई product का engineering के aspect को समझना पड़े. So that time you having a connection with some engineers, some doctors, medical negligence के कितने cases आ जाते हैं. So that time having your circle expanded to all different professions, LinkedIn really helps. In person, I don't think so. अगर आपके पास LinkedIn नहीं हो तो आप एक्चुअली में जाके किसी डॉक्टर से पूछ सकते थे हाँ आप मेरे साथ टच में रहो कांटेक्ट में रहो इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू डू दैट इन फिजिकल सो या
you
व्हाट
know,
यू
I
सेड expanding your network.
I personally feel that LinkedIn, content creation on LinkedIn, it's a very powerful tool for a law students, to showcase the skill, expertise, and
Hmm.
passion for legal profession. Especially, it shows it. Um,
Hmm.
like I feel like
एंड
it opened
कंटेंट
doors.
क्रिएटिंग में इवन एबल टू रीड द सोसाइटी कि पब्लिक को क्या पसंद है आपको पता होना चाहिए एज अ लॉयर कि सोसाइटी में क्या है बिकॉज आपका क्लाइंट आएगा यू हैव टू बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड कि
Yes,
आपका क्लाइंट कौन से बैकग्राउंड से आता है सो व्हेन यू आर मेकिंग कंटेंट क्रिएशन आई फील लाइक अ लॉट ऑफ एम्फसाइज गोज डाउन एंड बॉइल्स डाउन टू द फैक्ट कि हाँ आप बस कंटेंट लिख के डाल रहे हो बट इतने सारे छोटे छोटे चीजें आपको सीखने को मिलता है सो मेनी थिंग्स दैट मे बी आपको लाइफ लेसन जैसे लगने लगते हैं वैसा so I feel like it is very good.
yes. Yeah, I feel
Hmm.
like it opened doors for new opportunity and connection.
Hmm.
So it's like very essential to approach with
Yes,
people and like,
yes.
let them know more about it. So another question I have, what are some common mistakes to avoid when creating content on LinkedIn as a
Hmm.
law student?
Okay, this is my favorite question. मैं बोल रही हूँ मैंने ना LinkedIn पे even my friends have struggled with this and they would actually send me their writings personally, so I would correct their writings. I have even done ghost writing when I've written for somebody else and they will post it वगैरह. And I have noticed that a lot of people feel this need to be very formal when they're expressing. And
Yes.
I am like कि आप भाई सामने आप इंसान से ही बात कर रहे हो. They will also understand you when you're talking informally. थोड़ा सा slang होगा. And ये मैंने एक advice सीखा था when I was working on my writing skill कि right to express, not to impress. This is a very important quote that struck by me. क्योंकि पहले I used to do this mistake where I used to use big fancy words. मैं तो कभी कभी गूगल में जाके synonyms भी लिख देती थी कि ये कोई क्या कहते हैं honesty का ना एकदम fancy word कौन सा होगा दूसरा. And I'm like कि मैं impress करने के लिए क्यों लिख रही हूँ, क्योंकि that time ना a lot of people are not reading your content and thinking कि अरे यार इसकी इंग्लिश तो इतनी अच्छी है, इसकी जो भी मतलब जो भी इसकी बातें कितनी ज्यादा profound है, मुझे तो बड़ा knowledgeable की बात अलग है, but when it comes to connecting to people you have to write in a way where they are also able to understand. जैसे आप अपने दोस्तों के साथ बात करते हो तो आप अपने फ्रेंडशिप मेंटेन क्यों कर रहे हो, क्योंकि आप एक टाइप का इनफॉर्मल लैंग्वेज रखते हो. Most of the times I've noticed this mistake in content creation कि people become very formal in their writing. I'm talking specifically to writing, video editing का सब मुझे नहीं पता कैसे करते हैं लोग. But when it comes to writing, I feel like it is very important कि आप अपने audience पे focus करो, audience को study करो कि मेरा audience कैसा है. अभी मैंने जब study किया audience को, I have realized that a lot of people they don't want to read your posts that are written in a very formal way. फॉर्मल में पढ़ना होता तो जाके सीधा लॉ की टेक्स्ट बुक खोल लेते, वहां पे तो बहुत प्रिटेंशियस लैंग्वेज में लिखा होता है, वैसे भी वो लिख सकते थे जहाँ के वहां पे. बट आई फील लाइक a person will feel connected to you if you are talking in a way where they can relate to you. Okay, so writing in an informal way is one of the biggest thing I emphasize on. And also when you write, right, I feel like you have to make sure कि आपका format is easy on the eyes of a person. अभी हम you should apply this logic to yourself कि अगर आपको एक पूरा चंक सा लंबा सा पैराग्राफ में कोई देगा, आपका खुद ही नहीं दिल करेगा पढ़ने का. सेम
Hmm.
लॉजिक आपको अपने राइटिंग पे लगाना होगा कि भाई मैं अगर इतने लंबे लंबे चीजों में लिखूंगा तो मेरा क्यों दिल करेगा तो पढ़ने का. तो वहां पे टू बी स्ट्रेटेजिक एंड थिंक कि हाँ, तो फर्स्ट ब्रेक डाउन कर लो फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ, फिर एक दूसरा पैराग्राफ. It needs to be broken down. And abhi to especially because how the technology works, hum sabhi ka attention span is decreasing with the reels, the short. So the things of our attention span has really decreased. So that time the element of reading is almost vanishing right now. So making sure कि आपका content is crisp, to the point and expresses you also in that way, that is very important. कि आपको एक्सप्रेस करना चाहिए अपने आप को. इम्प्रेस बिल्कुल भी मत करो भाई. लिंक्डइन पे इम्प्रेस करने जाओगे कोई एंगेजमेंट ही नहीं आनी है उसके बाद में.
You know,
तो एंगेजमेंट के
and
लिए आई वुड से कि यस, यू हैव टू राइट टू एक्सप्रेस योरसेल्फ.
when actually I see your post, your content creation part, because it starts with that two liner heading, it's so
यस.
eye catching. उसके बाद वो पूरा पढ़ लेते ही है. That is something I guess, that two lines eye catching is something everything talks about that. It's like an abstract, a very small abstract about the whole thing that you're writing. Just दो line पे सब कुछ बता देता है, and then we just read the whole thing because we get more
एंड
interested.
you know this two line trick, what I meant by this was मतलब मैंने ये सीखा कहाँ से. To write better, right? If you want to get into writing, you have to be a very good observer. This is what I have learned from my own personal experience. So wherever you go, try to be very present in that scenario, in that situation. Your presence of mind, observe the things, and then you will able to understand कि how do people का attention get क्या कह सकते हैं, gets grasped. Because अभी देखो अगर मैं अपना content creation normal तरीके से कि hi guys, my name is Safa, today I'll be talking on this, it becomes formal. Like जब आप for example दे रही हूँ मैं, when there's a crowd that is talking on a topic and you're passing by, something that should be जब वो crowd कुछ बात कर रही होगी, it should be something that instantly grabs your attention कि oh my god वो
Yes.
क्या था. It needs to be like something that makes you turn your head कि oh okay, what did that mean. तो जब आप good observer होते हो ना, you are able to analyze कि society में क्या चीजें will make people turn their head कि oh इसका मतलब क्या था, इसका मतलब क्या था. You need to be a really good observer before you start writing. तो फॉर एग्जाम्पल अभी मैंने जो रिसेंट पोस्ट लिखा था ऑन आर्बिट्रेशन वेर आई गॉट an internship opportunity. Usually मैंने देखा है कि people don't know much about arbitration, and when they know also it is the basic guideline कि हाँ मुझे लगता है वो cases जल्दी निपट जाते हैं बस उसमें. तो bringing that, noticing how the public का first impression क्या होता है कोई topic पे, you need to make that as your banker. Something that draws the attention needs to be of that sort. So you have to be very good at observing कि people की क्या है. And when you observe things, right, good bad doesn't matter, you're observing, that's what matters. Sometimes you might even observe bad in events or bad incidents, but उसको negativity वाले क्या कहते हैं इंटरप्रिटेशन से लेने से बेटर है आप उसको बस ऑब्जर्व करो. डोंट ऐड कनोटेशंस लाइक यार ये तो बहुत नेगेटिव सा फील हो रहा है मेरे को.
Yes.
ऑब्जर्व करो बस. लेटर ऑन यू गेट टू लर्न फ्रॉम दैट कि ओके दिस इज व्हाट इट हैपेंस, एंड इसको मैं ऑब्जर्व करके कैसे लिख सकती हूँ इस बारे में या
Yes.
कैसे एक्सप्रेस कर सकती हूँ. सो दैट इज व्हाट आई वुड से कि बी वेरी गुड ऑब्जर्वर व्हेन यू हैव टू राइट समथिंग आई कैचिंग.
Okay, so this is the last but not the least as that that questions for content creation. How can I use content creation on LinkedIn to actively engage with other law students and share insights or experience?
आई थिंक कंसिस्टेंसी, बीइंग वेरी कंसिस्टेंट. आप ना
Yes.
ऐसे नहीं आ सकते. एंड आई हैव आल्सो एस्टैब्लिश्ड अ रूटीन. अभी मेरे एग्जाम्स थे सो आई वाज नॉट दैट एक्टिव, बट अभी माय एग्जाम्स हैव गॉटन ओवर सो आई एम प्लानिंग टू कम बैक ऑन द लिंक्डइन कम्युनिटी बट मेरा ना एक कैलेंडर है स्केड्यूल का. तो व्हाट आई डू इज, स्पेशली इफ यू आर पैशनेट अबाउट राइटिंग और यू वांट टू गेट इनटू राइटिंग, most of the times I had come across this one saying, I think yesterday or something, on a reel only, like some random reel. And मैंने
Yes.
सुना कि when it comes to skills, like अभी writing तो एक skill ही होता है. Most people back off or feel intimidated from the process of writing because they are very new to it. They are like यार ये skill तो हमें पता ही नहीं है, हम क्यों लिखें, मुझे नहीं लगता I'm made for it. But what differentiates over there is your perspective, where putting effort into something is where you don't need skill only. That is coming and showing up consistently to a place. Waking up or having a schedule in your day where you specifically dedicated to writing. वहां पे आपको कोई स्किल की जरूरत ही नहीं है. यू जस्ट हैव टू शो अप ओवर देयर. तो वैसे वाला पर्सपेक्टिव रखते हो ना आप, तो आप यू फील लेस इंटिमिडेटेड फ्रॉम द होल प्रोसेस ऑफ राइटिंग. यू वोंट फील लाइक यार मेरे पास स्किल्स ही नहीं है इस चीज के लिए. पर आप जब किसी चीज पे एफर्ट डालते हो तो वो वहां पे आपको कोई स्किल की जरूरत ही नहीं होती है. सो माय एडवाइस वुड बी जस्ट शो अप, be consistent with it. Do not ever think कि, and always never ever fall into the trap of perfectionism. This is my own firm belief कि never try to be this कि यार मेरा ये piece इतना perfect नहीं है, it's not to my satisfaction. Many times I feel like getting things done is much more better than sitting on it and dwelling कि यार ये perfect नहीं है, perfect नहीं है. Get it done. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. You being consistent is what matters. That is having discipline over there. Consistency will really help you with your engagement and content creation. And also, most of the times when I was very new at writing, I had realized कि जो भी thoughts आपके दिमाग में आते हैं ना, write it down immediately. And I am also sometimes guilty where I feel lazy sometimes कि यार अभी उठ के वहाँ पे लिखना होगा. तो मैंने वो laziness के लिए अपने फोन के नोट पैड पे बना दिया कि जब भी मेरे दिमाग में आइडिया होता है ना, I instantly open that app and go and type it out. So like what had happened when I said about the observing wala point, I think recently my parents, he was seeing me studying, and वो जो textbook का side पे होता है ना जो नाम, he noticed he noticed that, and he was like asking me कि इंडियन पिनल कोड और कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में डिफरेंस क्या होता है. ठीक है. सो दिस इज व्हाट वेरी लेमन टाइप का क्वेश्चन था मेरे डैड का. बट मैंने ये बात ऑब्जर्व की कि हम तो लॉ स्टूडेंट्स हैं, हमको तो ये बहुत ऑब्वियस लगता है. अनदर थिंग, ठीक है, जो आपको ऑब्वियस लगे वो किसी के लिए बहुत फॉरेन लगेगा. यू ऑलवेज हैव टू कीप दिस इन माइंड. जो चीज आपको ऐसा लगेगा ये तो सभी को पता होगा, पर किसी और को बिल्कुल नहीं पता होगा, दैट इज वेयर यू हैव टू बी क्विक एंड इंटेलिजेंट विद योर कंटेंट. सो आई रियलाइज कि एक्चुअली मैं मेनी अपकमिंग स्टूडेंट्स भी, उनको शायद एक्चुअली में डिफरेंस पता नहीं होगा. अब जैसे मैं अपने डैड को ये कॉन्सेप्ट एक्सप्लेन करूंगी कि आईपीसी और कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में क्या डिफरेंस क्या है, बिकॉज बोथ आर लाइक वन सेकेंड, हाँ, कि बोथ ऑफ देम आर लॉ के सब्जेक्ट, तो हम ये डिफरेंशिएशन क्यों क्रिएट करें. हाउ डू यू एक्सप्लेन दैट इन अ लेमैन पर्सन, बिकॉज यू आर एक्सप्रेसिंग योरसेल्फ नॉट इम्प्रेसिंग. डैड को क्यों एक्सप्रेस करना, इम्प्रेस करना होगा. एक्सप्रेसिंग में इनफॉर्मल लैंग्वेज आएगा. देन ऑब्जर्व करना होगा कि ओ ये लेमैन पर्सन को ये बात नहीं पता है, सो आई कैन राइट ऑन दिस, एंड दैट ऑल्सो बिकम्स अ हेडलाइन फॉर यू. कि कोई अगर ऐसा क्वेश्चन क्रिएट करता है तो लॉ स्टूडेंट्स को तो ये बड़ा ऑब्वियस लगेगा कि यार कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में ऐसा होता है, आईपीसी में ऐसा होता है, बट सम पीपल माइट नॉट नो, मोस्टली द फ्रेशर्स जो होते हैं। तो वैसे करके आप ऑब्जर्व करते हो ना, तो यू गेट टू नो अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स। सो राइट इट डाउन। तो मैंने ये जाके इंस्टेंटली नोट डाउन कर लिया कि डैड ने ये बात बोली थी। एंड along with this, I think you also practice this journal writing, right? Writing about your day वगैरह।
Almost like everyone have to do this. Like, it's very
Yes,
important.
yes, yes. I feel like मैं वो वैसी पर्सन थी पहले, where I used to think कि यार जर्नल राइटिंग कौन करेगा, इतना किसके पास टाइम होता है बैठ के लिखने के लिए अपने दिन के बारे में। So I was a judgmental person regarding journal writing. But now slowly I'm making an attempt on it, and it takes effort. Yes, I agree. It does take effort, but that effort really plays you in the long run. It helps you clear out your own thought process. It helps you clear out your own confusion with things. जब आप लिखते हो ना, genuinely that practice of journaling, it can be about anything. It doesn't even have to be academic. Just अपने दिन के बारे में कि आज कॉलेज में ऐसा हुआ वैसा हुआ जो भी है, it helps you get confident with expressing yourself, which
Yes.
again a lot of new beginners feel very conscious about कि यार मेरे पास बहुत thoughts है but I don't know how to express it. Start with your own journaling. You start to learn your own pattern कि हाँ मैं ऐसे express करती हूँ usually अपने आप को, and this becomes my own unique style, because everyone has a unique writing style. So you can discover your own uniqueness while you practice journaling वगैरह. I'm still कच्चा पक्का क्योंकि कभी कभी टाइम नहीं मिलता, but I would advise कि आप slowly एक एक दिन लगाओ, once in a week journaling
Yes.
का time or something. So it helps you a lot.
So now I'll ask you, like, this is a rapid question. This is
Yes,
segment.
okay.
Have to segment and you have to. It's like a very rapid. Okay. So this segment is
Mhm.
called breaking the myths, debunking non-NLU law student.
Okay, okay.
Non-NLU, non. It's like NLUs are only for academics. Geniuses. What do you think on this?
No, I don't think so about academics. I think education in general is never about academics. How do you apply that academic knowledge is where the real money is. मुझे genuinely ऐसा लगता है, क्योंकि मैं जब अपने एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट एडवोकेट के पास इंटर्न कर रही थी, वहां पे मेरी जो सीनियर थी, she was a rank holder, okay, and she gave me this advice saying कि even if you are a rank holder, never think कि the academics will get you somewhere. Okay, one second. Sorry, huh?
No, no, it's
So
fine.
I was saying, no, I was saying कि हाँ, she gave me this advice कि academics is never going to be your end game, because she was a rank holder and she only focused on her academics. And then later on after passing out, she realized कि ये academic का तो part सीख लिया, अब इसको practice में apply कैसे करना है? वहाँ पे you get a gap then. That is why whenever you study or whatever the question that you asked earlier about NLUs and being very academic, I think having the skill to apply that academic to a practice is where the real money is. That
Yes.
you should know. Hmm.
NLUs are all about competitions in a cutthroat environment. What do you think?
मैं personally हूँ नहीं NLUs की, so I cannot comment on it, I think, because I don't know how cutthroat the competition is over
Because
there.
mostly the person or the people who are preparing for CLAT, they think it. These are
Okay,
the
okay, okay. From
these
the
are,
CLAT
yeah.
perspective. Hmm.
Only
Yeah,
NLUs
I
guarantee.
think it is.
Okay. Only NLUs guarantee successful careers.
No, I firmly disagree from this. This actually, I'm going to even say it from my own personal experience, क्योंकि मेरे मेरे एक म्यूचुअल टाइप की पर्सन है, नॉट फ्रेंड बट अ म्यूचुअल, एंड that person is studying in Jindal. Okay, so when you hear the name only, you're like, oh, that is a pretty prestigious place to
Yeah.
be. Prestigious again in commas. Okay, guys, please never get affected by such things. So I went and searched her LinkedIn, and I was like a little just taken aback, I would say. I think I had a lot of more expectation. So I felt like कि, okay, अगर ये person is not doing that much, being in such a great opportunity that one would assume, and a person like me who's not even coming from a background that gives us this much opportunities, and I am still putting the effort to find my own way and my own loophole.
Yes.
That time I realized that maybe the opportunity can be handed over to you. Okay, the prestigious, to be again in quotes, is given to you in your admission or whatever, you can get admitted to it, but how do you make use of it is what matters. every year जाके आप fees तो भर दोगे 10-10 लाख whatever of the range that is there in NLUs. But how do you make use of the things that you're learning there? Being able to market it out. How do you do that? That is something I think is unique to every person. That can never be taught, in my opinion. कि आपको पता होना चाहिए कि आप कैसे करते हो उसका utilization. So I have seen this two perspective from my own personal life. A person who is not from actually मेरे most circle में people that are not from NLUs are doing such great things,
Yeah.
such big opportunities which
Yes.
they never expected कि NLUs के बाहर आपको हो पाएगा. But I have also seen a circle of people that belong to in quotes prestigious universities, but their LinkedIn profile is also not established. They don't even intern per se anywhere. So it's like it really depends on how you mold that opportunity and make the best use out of it. That is my perception. I
Okay.
can people can differ from it.
So now we'll go to another, segment
Mhm.
where we'll talk about the myths only about law students as a
Mhm.
whole, because this is
Okay.
important. This is important.
Yes. Yes.
Law students have a superhuman memory.
No. I think that is such a huge myth because even our professors don't, remember the sections or the cases most of the time. And even Supreme Court advocates, they refer to the Constitution while they're, argumenting and see the book and all. So no, we do not have super memory. But if you do, then you are lucky, I guess. But that applies to any field.
There's also not, I won't say it's a myth, but when relatives come to my home, they're like, "अरे ये तो वकील बनने वाला है. अगर मेरा कोई केस है तो लड़
Mm,
देना." I'm like, okay.
yes. No, by the way, between a very unsolicited advice to anyone that's listening, I believe you should never take your cases from relatives and all because you
Yes,
already have an emotional bond and it will mess up things even more. Because if things get messy and you lose the case, the relatives will hold a really bad grudge against you, and
yes,
you also will have a struggle from asking them to pay you on time because they'll ask you कि हाँ आप इतना बस इतने में दे दो वगैरह. It really spoils your professionalism. So मुझे ये रवि सर ने एक्चुअली एडवाइस दिया था वेयर सम पर्सन हैड आस्क्ड कि अगर रिलेटिव्स आके पूछे केस तो क्या करना है. तो सर ने बोला सीधा आप बोल दो कि आप ये केस डील ही नहीं करते, आप कोई और ही लॉ के चीजों में डील करते
हाँ.
हो. खत्म बात. हाँ उन्होंने ये बोला
There
था.
are also people who don't know that there are area of interest that have to study for. They don't
हम्म.
know this. They're like, हाँ कोई भी
हम्म.
केस कर लेगा. He's a lawyer. पढ़िए नहीं. They
हम्म.
don't know that we also have to pass bar council after this.
Exactly.
Yes. Another question is,
Hmm.
law students use long and complicated words.
I think that is subjective to people, but मेरा ऐसा belief है कि as crisp as you can be. Again, the point about express yourself, don't impress yourself. Because when you write or talk in a very sophisticated language, what I have observed is it creates a wall between you and the audience. The
Yes.
audience starts to feel कि यार ये ना बहुत superiority में है, मुझे शायद दही बात ही नहीं करना चाहिए. And when that wall comes in, how are you then going to continue to be connected to the society? Because in a law profession you have to be very connected to the society कि क्या है present, क्या prevalent है, what is diminishing in value. So when you become very pretentious, I guess, in your words, that time it creates a wall between people. Even if now if I go and approach someone who's talking in a very fancy language as one would say, मुझे तो एकदम अजीब सा लगेगा. I'd be like कि भाई सीधे सीधे भाषा में बोल दे भाई. मैं समझ सकती हूँ. And
We
I
try to complicate things when we can
yeah, why do
easily
complicate
convey it.
things? And मैं genuinely वो कहने पे like I believe in that saying कि if you're very well versed in a concept, right, you can express it in a language that even a kindergarten can understand.
Yes.
That is the true way you can understand that someone actually knows their thing, whatever they are
You
studying.
know, I guess after this, video, people will say like, ये हर podcast पे रवि सर की बात क्यों होती है इसके?
Actually, I think I talk about him to even my friends and everyone that I meet. And I also, people that are listening, I think everyone should try an internship and apply there under Ravi sir because his style of internship is very different. And I am the session head right there, so I can guarantee you that from my own experience and then conducting the internships for other interns, I think the impact that your personality takes over. Maybe even in 5 years of your law school, you might not build up that personality as much as you might build under that internship. So, and he has actually been a really great mentor to me. And The fact that you started this whole thing to me saying ki Safa, you're really good at writing and content creating, I never knew that I was good at it or writing. It was Ravi sir who noticed this and he said me, yeah, I think you should try for writing. Like you have a great way of expressing yourself. And that's when I got encouragement to go and start writing on LinkedIn. So it was Ravi sir who was the initiator of
Yeah,
my content
because
creating and all.
whenever I think I
Hmm.
need help for content creation, I will come up to
Hmm.
you. Like
Hmm.
whenever I feel like
Hmm.
content creation karna hai, I feel like you are very much like there's not a bar that we just finish it. Like we
Hmm.
just continue, just keep on going,
Hmm.
expressing ourselves, as you said, not to impress but to express is something. and
Hmm.
I always said that your two liners, these two liners
Hmm.
is so important. Like it's very
Hmm.
important for making people feel कि एक बार पढ़ के तो देखो, like if
Hmm.
they see like बड़ा बड़ा सा like what to say paragraph, they just leave it. No.
Hmm. Yes, yes.
So, we come to an end of this segment and of this podcast too. So,
Hmm.
before ending it,
I'm excited for the coming episodes.
yes. So, before
Hmm.
ending this, how, what would you like to say to an upcoming law student or who's in first year? What
Hmm.
would you like to say to them?
I think one advice I would give is that there are bad days that will come, okay? Never think that, you will always have the same spirit. Even I have my own bad days. But rather than ignoring the bad days, making sure that you acknowledge them is very important because when you acknowledge them, you actually get to learn a lot from your own bad days also. Ki, okay, this is something how I react on a bad day. Next time ki bad day mein maybe you are aware of the process. So when you have good days, obviously आप happy रहोगे and you will be over the moon. But even in your bad days, be acknowledging of it. Don't disregard it कि यार मेरी तो life ही खराब है. You know that Kangana Ranaut का meme कि मेरी तो जिंदगी ही खराब है. Yeah, like on those days it does feel like that. But acknowledge it and be patient and kind to yourself. कि it's a bad day. The next day will be a new opportunity. Always have a little bit of hope. Because hope नहीं होगा तो I don't know law college कैसे complete होगा.
Okay.
Yeah, so that
Thank you
is one thing I
so
would
much,
say.
Safa, for joining in, for
Mhm.
giving us
Thank
the
you.
time. And I hope that audience will like it. And it was so
Mm,
amazing interacting and talking to you. It
mm.
was really amazing. Thank you so much for accepting and coming.
Thank you. It was my honor to be your guest and everyone listening here also. Thank you for being so patiently listening to me ramble and all. And we might differ in a lot of things, but that doesn't mean you can't reach out to me. So do
Yes.
feel free to reach out to me whenever you have any doubts.
LinkedIn, the
Oh,
description, the description, I'll keep a LinkedIn.
प्रमोशन करेंगे हम लोग. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Bye.